"You're just trash. The only thing you're good for is bait." Those were the last words Lee Haoran heard before his captain threw him into the jaws of a level 5 titan snake to save his own skin. But where others found death, he found destiny, awakening the blood demon god system, a forbidden power that allows him to siphon stats and skills through the blood and absolute loyalty of his conquests. Rising from the ashes as a legendary predator, he binds succubi, ice queens, and beast matriarchs to his soul, slaughtering the elites who mocked him and turning their armies into dust. Now standing amidst the corpses of warlords, he faces a supreme sorceress and her world-ending thunder calamity to prove that he is no longer prey, he is the king. At City J, in a certain hospital, the main character is standing outside in the rain. His name is Lee Haoran and he's just an ordinary person. When he was 6, his parents died in a battle between the evolved and mutant beasts. Since then, his sister and he was passed from one relative to another, growing up in a cold and harsh environment, but misfortune never comes alone. The mutant disease is a special ailment caused by mutant beasts. Some people just can't resist the energy from interdimensional beings and are gradually corroded by it until their bodies become paralyzed and they eventually die. The erosion process varies from person to person. It can take between 3 to 5 days or even extend to 7 or 8 years. However, no matter how long it takes, anyone afflicted with the mutant disease has no chance of survival. Facing imminent death, he had lost all hope, but for his sister, and to fulfill his mother's wish, he must fight to stay alive. A few days later, on the outskirts of City J, the leader of a group asks if everyone's here. He will explain the mission for this hunt. A few days ago, it was reported that dozens of level 1 mutant beasts were present in this area attacking residents. Their mission is to infiltrate their nests and exterminate them completely. For their team, level 1 beasts pose no threat. He's Chen Zijian's skill, lightning wind, and evolution superior steel. Chen asks if they follow his orders, then they will complete the mission without any problems. If there are no questions, then they will depart immediately. His teammate says let's go because his fists can't wait any longer. Chen then tells Lee he's the only one on the team who hasn't evolved. As a carrier, does he understand his responsibility? Lee agrees as he's holding up a bag. He thinks for an ordinary human, the only way to join a hunting squad is as a carrier. He don't need to fight, and he only has to follow the team to ensure the supply provisions. After the battle, he will also be in charge of collecting the valuable materials from the beasts while telling him not to worry because it's not the first time he has done this. Afterwards, Chen and his teammates are defeating the beasts one after another when Lee thinks it seems like the hunt is going quite well. It shouldn't take much time to finish. Ordinary humans and the evolved are worlds apart. Suddenly, he feels the ground shaking when he gets surprised, thinking level 1 beast couldn't cause this kind of disturbance. There's something much more dangerous here. Just then, the ground breaks, and a level 5 mutant beast, Titan Snake, appears before them. Looking at it all, the team members get scared, saying they have seen this creature on television. It's a level 5 mutant beast. The information said that there were only level 1 beasts here, so this is completely beyond their capabilities. Just then, Lee asks everyone, what are they waiting for? Run. If they stay there, then they will die. Hearing him, everyone starts running, saying they almost fell into absolute terror at that thing, but thankfully someone shouted, which made them react. The other says that thing is too damn big and it's too fast, they won't be able to escape. They need a bait. He says snakes stop when they have something to eat. Just then, Chen says they have a bait. All of a sudden, Chen appears in front of Lee. Looking at him, Lee gets surprised, but just then Chen attacks him. Lee gets shocked, asking why, what does this mean? Chen then grabs him by his throat, saying on their team, he's the only one without any combat ability. He's the least valuable, so he's the best option for bait. He read his file and found that he was diagnosed with the mutant disease not long ago. Anyway, he doesn't have much time left to live, so before he dies, why not do something useful for them? He then throws Lee towards the snake, telling him he just have to blame himself for being too weak. Lee falls on the ground and starts breathing heavily. The snake rushes at him when Lee thinks if this is his end. He remembers his mother's words as she told him she won't be able to take care of him anymore. He must promise her something that no matter what happens, he must take care of his sister and he must stay strong and survive. Just then a portal appears beneath him and a beam of light appears. As the light fades away, Lee is standing there thinking what's happening. He should be dead, but why is he here? The wounds on his body have disappeared and this clothing, wondering if it was because of that red light he saw before dying. He then hears people talking about him, saying he's a man. Nico has managed to summon a man. Who would have thought that the old scroll would actually work? They got lucky this time, as it's been a long time since they have seen such a perfect man. A group of succubus are standing in front of him, saying their blood is already boiling and they are so excited. Besides, he's emanating an incredible magical aura. Such a charming being, they wonder what it will be like to play with him. Lee looks at them thinking what's going on here and why are there so many succubi? Besides, can't they see this right in front of him? A system is present in front of him showing him his stats. A succubus is standing beside him as she tells him she's the one who used an ancient summoning circle to bring him here. When it was activated, the heavens and the earth trembled and an incredibly powerful magic emerged from the ritual. They were extremely scared. She's a level 3 mutant beast succubus, Nico. Nico says if it has caused such a commotion, then he must be incredibly strong. She then swears absolute loyalty to him for all eternity and that she will never betray him. Lee thinks first follower. She just swore loyalty to him and a notification already popped up. He clicks on the notification. Nico's stats appear in front of him when the system tells him when a follower's affinity reaches 100%, then they can be added to the harem and a mysterious reward will be granted. It was at that moment that Haoran finally understood. He has been reborn thanks to this thing before him. He had acquired a power even greater than that of the evolved, the blood demon god system. This time he finally has the means to take revenge. As he was thinking that, Nico gets close to him asking what's wrong with him. Why does he look so excited and why is he touching the air? Is it because he has slept for too long and feels uncomfortable, so does he wants to move a little? He agrees, telling her he wants to move a bit when he says if he really needs to touch something, then please touch her body. If her body can help him relax, then it will be an honor for her. Even though this is her first time, she will do everything she can to please him. Looking at her, the other succubi says this kind of thing should be left to them. How shameless, let them take the lead. Just then Lee tells Nico he has no intention of taking advantage of her, so hold on. He asks if all succubus are this eager. Just then the system tells him Nico's affinity has dropped to 85%. Nico asks what's happening. Does her body not interest him? Lee says no, he shouldn't say that. Affinity is supposed to be a key function of the system, so if he wants to take revenge, then he must use the power of the system. He has to do something. He must maximize his affinity with all of them. He tells Nico it seems that she has misunderstood him. She's beautiful. All of them are beautiful, but he has never seen a woman as special as her. Nico asks really while her affinity increases to 90%. She says if he keeps talking like that, then he will make her feel embarrassed. He says but he has just been summoned by her and he hasn't adapted yet, so he needs energy. She asks energy, telling him since he's the blood demon god, then as long as he has blood, he can recover energy. She then shows him her neck, asking him to drink as much as he wants from her. It's an honor that her blood flows within him. Just then Lee thinks what's happening to him and why does he feel so much anxiety inside? Is it the natural instinct of his vampire lineage? It seems he can't control himself. His fangs come out and he bites Nico on her neck. He starts sucking her blood when her affinity increases to 92%. She thinks it's incredible as now she's completely united with her master. The system tells him he has acquired a new skill, blood fusion, and strength has also increased by 1. After drinking blood, he thinks a new skill, so it works like this too. Let him see what it's all about. Blood fusion is a passive skill. When absorbing a woman's fresh blood, he will randomly gain an attribute point. Each target can only trigger this affect once. He thinks a skill that grants attribute points without needing to level up. Even though the points are granted randomly, if he has enough targets, then he can gain a considerable amount of attributes. This skill is incredibly powerful. He then calls Nico when she says, here she is. He tells her he needs more blood. She tells him to let's keep going. He can drink as much as he wants from her when he disagrees, telling her not just her blood, but he needs the blood of the others too, women's blood. The more the better. Hearing this, all the other succubus gets excited, asking if this is a new kind of game. Lee says if they have no objections, then come on all together. After that, he starts drinking blood of the others and keep gaining attribute points. The succubus says incredible. They have never experienced anything so thrilling. Even though the bite hurt a little, their heart is about to burst with excitement. It's as if their soul and the master's has a deep connection. It felt like they have reached enlightenment. Lee thinks every succubus here has activated blood fusion. Thanks to them, he has gained a huge amount of attributes, but he only bit their necks. Isn't their reaction a bit exaggerated? All of the succubus's affinity increases when he wonders if succubus have such sensitive bodies. At the succubus town, Nico walks inside the room telling Lee she's coming in. She says there were too many people outside a moment ago as she couldn't manage well. She then gets on the bed saying ever since he bit her, she has been obsessed with that feeling of sensation. Let's have a deeper connection now that it's just the two of them. He can give it his all. Let her become a real succubus tonight as she's going to get on top. Just then she feels something wrong, saying this sensation is too intense. She takes off the bedsheet and gets surprised to see a wooden log there. She says if he already found something more important than her. On the other hand, inside of a cemetery, Lee is standing there thinking even though his level is only 1, but after a whole day of absorbing blood, his attributes are already pretty solid. The most important thing now is to seize every real combat opportunity, so he must level up and then he will get revenge on that guy. This cemetery is filled with dark energy. Based on his experience with the hunting squads, places like this are usually inhabited by mutant beasts of the undead race. If he unleashes his magical energy, then he should be able to attract them. He unleashes his power thinking let him show them what he's capable of. Because of his power, the spirits wake up saying, says who is it? Who has disturbed their eternal rest? Level 1. Mutant beasts. Faceless specter appears. They say he has disturbed their eternal rest, so die as they all rush towards Lee to attack. Lee hits one of them, saying the level 1. Mutant beast is trying to kill him. He starts fighting the others and keeps on gaining experience. After defeating quite a few, the system tells him he has unlocked a new skill, Crimson Flash, that allows him to perform 2 short dashes within 5 seconds. After that, in the middle of the night, Lee is breathing heavily when he thinks if this is what it feels like to fight mutant beasts the way the evolved do. It feels incredible. The system tells him he has reached level 8, so please assign his attribute points. He thinks he's no longer that despised baggage carrier. For now, the attributes that benefit his combat the most are strength, endurance, and agility. He only needs to assign his points to strength and endurance. That should be a pretty reasonable distribution. Suddenly, the system gives him a danger warning telling him a level 2 mutant beast, Butcher, has appeared. Just as the beast was about to attack, Lee gets surprised but dodges the attack thinking level 2 mutant beast. Despite its enormous body, it's not slow at all, and there's another one. The faceless specters before appeared with their names in green, which meant they didn't pose a challenge, but the Butcher's name is in yellow. What does that mean? Does it mean it's a formidable enemy for him, but since fate has given him a second chance, no matter who stands in his way, he must defeat them? Afterwards, Lee is fighting with the Butcher as he hits him, thinking this thing is tough. There's no way he's hurting it with just fists and kicks. Lee then uses his ability Crimson Wine Burn, thinking that was close. These two cover each other well, which makes them a real pain to deal with. Luckily, he managed to grab a weapon from the Butcher's back earlier, so as long as he don't drag this into a prolonged fight, he would have enough power to take them down. The Butcher attacks him back, but he blocks its attack, saying he's not scared of him. He put 80% of his points into strength, and so if they go head-to-head, it's risky, but he can win. He blocks the attack and then disappears when the Butcher starts looking around. Just then, Lee asks where's he looking at, and then jumps up at him to attack, saying it's too late to react now. He stabs the Butcher on its head when the system tells him he leveled up. He says one monster actually made him level up twice in a row. No wonder fighting strong opponents is so addictive. The system tells him he has reached level 10. He has unlocked a new skill, Blood Prison Burial. It summons a blood swamp in the targeted area to slow the enemy and launches blood blades for heavy damage. The other beast roars when Lee asks what's wrong. Is he upset that his buddy died? He then says his name just turned green. He knows what that means. He's not a match for him anymore. He will send him to join him when the Butcher throws his weapon towards Lee. Lee dodges its attack quite easily, saying it's slowing down. He then says he may not have much combat experience, but as a porter, he has watched enough battles to know how this works. His strategy is too easy to wait, so let him finish him off with his new skill, Blood Prison Burial. Lee then kills the beast and levels up again. He says even though he already knew what this skill does, seeing it in action still sends chills down his spine. This skill is absolutely brutal. The system tells him he has earned a new title, Undead Slayer. Lee says even the title system is activated. System tells him when equipped, this title grants plus 5% damage against undead enemies. After that, Lee says that was risky, but making this much progress in a single day is totally worth it. He then checks his stats, saying at this rate, it won't be long before he catches up to Chen at the steel upper class level. Just as he was looking through his stats, the system tells him his daily quest has been generated, so please complete it promptly. He says what could it be, as there got to be a reward for completing it. The system says before the next sunrise, absorb fresh blood from at least one opposite character to trigger. Each opposite character can only trigger blood fusion once, and failure to complete this task will result in a random deduction of 5 attribute points. Lee says a task. Sucking a woman's blood every day. Is this just a vampire thing, and the penalty for failing is losing 5 attribute points? That's a terrible deal. He already drained all the succubus in the village yesterday, and now they hit him with this task. Isn't this just screwing him over? He's out here in the middle of nowhere. Where is he supposed to find another woman? Just then, he thinks who said there aren't any women left as he looks at the ghost specters. He thinks even though he already defeated them, they are technically a female ghost. A female ghost still counts as an opposite character, so this makes perfect sense. Her blood should work. Just as he drinks blood, the system tells him the target blood has rotted, so he's unable to trigger blood fusion. He says if it's because she's been dead for too long, but there are still plenty of faceless ghosts around here. One of them has to work. After that, he tries everyone but fails to trigger blood fusion. He then gets sad, saying it's probably because they are undead. Their blood wasn't fresh to begin with. This is all his fault for draining all the succubus blood yesterday as he got too greedy. He then unleashes his power, saying he needs some women. Where the hell is he supposed to find one out here? On the other hand, Nico is lying on his bed, saying even though Master isn't here, his scent still lingers on this bed. Lying here feels like being in his arms, so it's amazing. Suddenly, she gets a feeling saying it's Master Haoran. She gets up quickly, saying he must need her right now. Meanwhile, elsewhere, 2 guys are sitting inside of a car when one of them says they have been searching all day and they still haven't found anything. Is he sure he didn't take a wrong turn? The other tells him yesterday there was a strange surge of magic. It only lasted a moment, but he's certain it came from this direction. That magic was unlike anything he has ever seen, so it must belong to some incredibly rare monster species. If they bring it back to the corporation, then they will definitely get promoted and earn a raise. The first one says he said it himself. It's rare, that means they know nothing about it. If they can't handle it, then they're in serious trouble. Just then a woman sitting behind says hesitating doesn't align with their company's fearless spirit. Is this how the corporation trained him? The guy apologizes to her, calling her leader. He says he's just worried because they haven't reported this yet. The lady tells him not to worry because she has got it covered with the corporation. With her here, nothing will happen to him. She's Great City Corporation, Evolution Squad leader, Polar Rose, Li Shuer. Shui says they are not the only one who sensed that magic surge. They need to move first and strike before anyone else does. Just as they were driving, Lee appears in front of the car. He looks at the car thinking humans. Could there be a woman inside that car? Both the guys gets out of the car saying if this is the guy they are looking for. The other agrees saying this is the magical signature they were tracking. It's an exact match, but the magic level is only around tier 2, not very strong. Lee gets angry thinking a man, judging by their setup they are obviously here to hunt him. Just then Zhu walks out of the car saying judging by his appearance he's probably a vampire type monster, definitely rare. She's at the gold lower class level when she says it's too bad, it's just a tier 2 monster not even worth her time. She asks her subordinates to handle it for her, stuff him in the trunk when they are done. Lee looks at her thinking a real woman, but she's a gold tier awakened. There's no way he can take her on because the red title proves it. Even her subordinates are way more than he can handle easily. He can't just sit here and wait to die when he uses his ability Crimson Curse and then appears behind Zhu. She gets surprised thinking why is he moving that fast when suddenly he holds her. She gets startled thinking what should she do? She has never been in such a situation before. Just then her subordinates asks him to get off their leader. What does he think he's doing to the leader? Zhu asks him what is he trying to do and what is his intention. Why is he holding on to her when Lee apologizes to her telling her he can't help himself? He smells her neck and then starts sucking her blood when the system tells him his daily quest is completed and his attributes have been increased. Sue says she has lived this long and not a single man has ever touched her body. She unleashes her power telling Lee not to go too far. Lee falls back and hits a tree asking too far. He doesn't think so at all. She's acting like she hates this. Sue says isn't that right? Not only did he touch her, but he even left this mark on her neck, which is unforgivable. The system tells him Shu's affection has increased to 30%. Shui says the only way to settle this is to freeze him into an ice sculpture. Lee smiles, saying a woman who says one thing but means another. He sees right through her. Zhui gets surprised, asking how dare he spout nonsense. She's not saying one thing and meaning another. Lee thinks it looks like he guessed it right. If she doesn't truly want to kill him, then he might have a chance to escape. Just then Lee notices an attack coming at him, but suddenly Zhui blocks the attack, asking what kind of a coward fights from the shadows. They should come out and face her properly. Two guys are standing in the shadows when one of them says, "What a fiery woman." There's no need to be so mad as they didn't mean any harm. They say she just seemed hesitant, so he figured he would help her make a decision. The other says since they both aren't planning to kill him, why not hand him over to their elite center? Lee looks at them thinking two more red tier opponents. A gold lower class, Yu Wen, and a gold upper class, Zheng Ji. He wonders why does everyone wants him dead today? Hearing that Zhue says they are people from the elite center, forget it. They from Red City Group were the first to find him. He's their prey, so handing him over to them is out of the question. Lee says that's right. Only a beautiful, noble, and cool woman like her deserves him. Both of them aren't worthy. Hearing that Zhu's affection increases to 40% when she says he belongs to the Red City Group. She tells them if they want him, then they will have to get through her first. Lee tells her what an overwhelming presence, just from sheer aura alone, those two already lost to her. Zhu's affection increases again. Lee then says besides these two handsome guys seem pretty strong, there's no way they would lose to those two sleazy guys over there. Zhu's subordinate says that's right, their Red City Group has never been afraid of anyone. Yu Wen says what a pity the negotiations failed. He asks Zheng Zhou to go on ahead. Zheng Zhou says they already gave them their chance, so they asked for it when he attacks. Zhui blocks his attack and then attacks him back using her ability Blizzard. Zheng Ji gets caught up in the attack thinking what an annoying skill. The wind is so strong he can barely keep his eyes open. Yu Wen says she uses the snowstorm to restrict their movements and creates an advantageous situation for her. That's pretty smart. He then tells Zhang Zhe they have found a great opponent. Jie looks at him evading her attack when she thinks her snow melts before it even gets near him. That dwarf isn't simple at all, but judging by what he says, it seems he doesn't intend to fight. Is he underestimating her? She then asks her subordinates to keep a good eye on him so he doesn't escape as both of them agrees. She then jumps up in the air and then uses her ability Ice Song Polar Rose to attack. Zheng Jie gets surprised by her attack, asking what kind of joke is this? Who fights using a flower as if she's making fun of him? The attack hits the ground when Zhu's subordinates say it hit him squarely. Now he really can't keep acting arrogantly. The other says there's no doubt their leader is incredible. This is the power of their group. Zheng Jie gets turned into ice when Yu Wen says his situation is putting him in trouble. How is he supposed to explain this to his father when he gets back that he was defeated by a woman? Hearing that Shui asks what's wrong, as if he underestimates woman, she tells him he's next. Just then, Yu Wen tells her it seems like she still hasn't understood the situation. Suddenly an attack hits her subordinates that turns them into stones. She gets surprised, thinking petrification? What is happening? Yu Wen thinks another new contender when suddenly Nico appears and hugs Lee, saying she finally found him. Lee asks how did she get here? She tells him she felt that Master needed her a lot, so she ran here to help him. As long as she can be useful, she's willing to give it her all. Looking at them being all lovey-dovey, Zhui gets angry. Lee tells Nico having a subordinate like her is awesome as she replies, it's an honor for her to have a master like him. Zhu thinks why is she trembling with rage? Is it because those two are flirting in front of her? Impossible. She's not that shallow of a person. It's because she turned his people to stone. That's definitely why. Just then she asks both of them to stop flirting and quickly turn them back to normal. Just as she loses her focus, Yu Wen says it seems she choose the wrong opponent. He appears in front of her as she thinks he's too fast. He says she hit his people and now she wants to leave while attacking her. Shui falls back as she hits a tree when Yuwen tells her it's not that easy. Lee looks at him thinking, is this the power of a superior gold? It's too strong. Even the lower gold leader can't stand up to him. Nico and him is no match for him. He then looks at him thinking the system mentioned that if one of his followers' affinity reaches 100%, then a secret reward will be unlocked. If he wants a chance to survive, then he must beat everything. Nico thinks the enemy is strong, but she can't back down in front of Master. Yuwen says he came for this rare blood beast, but it turned out there's also a succubus as a bonus. Not bad. His luck is incredible. If he brings them back, then his father will surely see him in a new light. He tells them not to be afraid as it will be quick. They won't even feel any pain. Nico attacks him, but he blocks her attack, saying pathetic. They can barely handle trash. They don't even tickle him as he appears in front of Nico to attack. Just then Lee uses his ability, Crimson Flash. He then grabs Nico and then disappears in an instant when Yuwen gets surprised thinking, did he disappeared? What does that mean? A mere level 2 beast is faster than his eyes? That's impossible. Lee is standing on top of a tree thinking he has already used 2 flashes. He has no more ways to escape. He must get that secret reward before that guy notices, but why hasn't Nico's affinity increased yet? Was it too fast to her? Just then, Nico gets sad, telling him she's useless, having her master intervene to save her. From now on, she will work harder. Lee tells her now is not the time for apologies as he gets closer to her. He then kisses her as she thinks if it's appropriate to do this with Master in the middle of the battle, but it doesn't matter anymore. If Master wishes it, then as his follower, she must please him. Her affinity increases to 99% when Yuwen finds them. He gets angry, saying, a beast is still just a beast. He asks if they are hiding there to kiss during the fight. If he had arrived a little later, would they have started mating? He's going to reduce their bodies and souls to ashes. Yuwen unleashes his power when Lee thinks only 1% left. Is it still not enough? Yuwen rushes at them to attack, but suddenly Lee gets protected by a wall. Yuwen gets annoyed, saying, why are there so many obstacles in the way? Shui uses her ability, Extreme Ice Protection, as she protects both Lee and Nico. Yuwen looks at her and says he didn't kill her only because of the red group, so don't get twisted when she tells him not to talk so nicely. Would someone like him let an enemy live? That vampire is her prey, so if he wants to touch him, then he will have to get past her first. While Li Shuier and Yuwen started a fierce battle inside the ice prison, Li's reached the final stage. Nico's affinity reaches 100% when she thinks the master kissed her in the middle of the battle. She feels so happy she could melt. Just then, the system tells him he has unlocked the secret reward. Congratulations. He has obtained permission to use Bloodthirsty Beak once. By using Bloodthirsty Beak, he will unlock all the attributes and abilities of the Blood Demon God, obtaining incomparable combat power. Bloodthirsty Beak's duration is 10 minutes. Lee uses his ability as an enormous surge of power breaks out, surprising everyone. He walks outside asking Yuwen if he wasn't going to turn him into dust and ashes. He should go on ahead. Yuwen gets surprised, thinking, what's this? Wasn't it just a level 2 beast? Why does he suddenly have such terrifying power when Lee asks if he isn't going to move? He says he gave him a chance, but he didn't take it. He uses his ability Devil's Hand to pull him closer. Yuwen thinks what's happening, he can't control his body. Just then, Lee grabs him by his throat when Yuwen gets scared. He asks Lee not to kill him as he knows he was wrong, but he begs him not to kill him. Lee says sometime before he didn't talk to him like that. Yuwen tells him before he was a fool who couldn't recognize greatness. He was too stupid, so please forgive him. Lee says this scene feels very familiar to him. Back then, he was also picked up in this way as if he was a piece of trash that could be discarded at any moment. If he remembers correctly, that guy was a registered evolved from the Elite Center. This makes it even harder for him to forgive him as he throws him back and then punches him pretty hard on his stomach. Yuwen coughs blood and then falls back, hitting everything in his path. He's then lying on the ground, badly injured, when Lee thinks if this is what it feels like to be above everyone else. The power of the Blood Demon God is truly amazing. Will he ever truly possess this power? Shu looks at him thinking, is he still that little vampire that bit her a moment ago? Did he still had such terrifying power hidden? Was he letting her win before? Nico thinks inconceivable. He's truly worthy of being the master she chose. This is incredible. Just then, Genja breaks out from the ice, saying it was just a momentary lapse that got him caught, but luckily, he managed to get out. Now, he's serious. Lee is standing in front of him when Genja asks what does that posture means. Lee uses his ability. Red Storm as a bunch of bats appear and starts attacking Genja says get out of his sight, but the bats devours him, leaving only his skeleton behind. System tells him he leveled up when Lee thinks he leveled up 5 levels at once. What satisfaction gold level enemies provide. Impressive experience. And besides, he permanently unlocked a new skill, Red Storm. It summons a swarm of bats to attack enemies, causing great damage, especially effective against multiple targets. Yuwen asks Lee to forgive him when Lee asks what did he say. He can't hear him. Yuwen tells him he doesn't want to die, so forgive him. He says his father is the president of the Elite Center, so if he let him go home, then he will give him whatever he wants. He doesn't want to die. Lee asks, does he wants to go home? He will help him. Yuwen thanks him, saying he's a great person, so he will repay him somehow. Lee makes him float up in the air, telling him he doesn't have to repay him because he's just someone who enjoys helping others. Lee then throws Yuwen towards the city when Shui thinks if isn't that the direction to City J. Don't tell her he's really sending him home. On his way back home, Yuen hits multiple mountains and then lastly hits a building. Lee levels up thinking it seems he reached home safe and sound. He leveled up another 5 levels. Although in theory his experience should have been even greater, it seems that the higher the level, the more experience is needed to level up. He then turns when Shuei gets surprised, asking what does he plans to do. Is it her turn now? Lee calls Nico, telling her there's something he is curious about and he needs her cooperation. Shuei thinks, what does that mean? Doesn't this have anything to do with her? Nico tells him at his command, Master can do whatever he wants with her. Lee then activates his skill, Soul Resonance, when power starts emanating in Nico's body. She says what's happening. All her energy is concentrating on her chest. It looks like something is about to emerge. It's huge. When did her chest hide something like this? A sword starts coming out from her chest when she asks if this is Master's secret sword. She can't take it. It's too big. Lee holds the sword, telling her this is the result of their soul resonance. There's nothing to worry about, so hang on a little. He then takes out the sword, thinking the soul resonance skill can only be activated when the follower's affinity is at maximum. Through soul resonance, a special piece of equipment materializes from the follower's body. He looks at his sword, saying this is the blood blade Bredso. This is the piece of equipment that Nico has given him. Shu in surprise asks, he pulled a weapon out from her chest. With his strength, he shouldn't even need a weapon to deal with her, or did he specifically wants to use that sword to finish her off? Just then, Lee tells her she's overthinking it while tearing her clothes. She gets surprised, thinking this cool sensation, could it be? She then gets flustered, telling him there's no honor in combat. Kill her or torture her, do whatever he wants, but why is he undressing her? Lee says enough talk. That was just a little warm-up earlier. If she doesn't want to end up like them, then follow him to the small woods behind them. He has something to discuss with her. After that, Jue thinks, what does he wants to talk about and why isn't he saying anything? Why did he specifically call her to a secluded place like this? A man and a woman alone, it's so awkward. What's he planning? Just then, she gets surprised, thinking she get it now. He held back earlier and didn't land a fatal blow this time either. There's only one explanation. He must have taken a liking to her and wants to take advantage of her beauty. Even though he's a vampire-type monster, aside from the heavy demonic aura, his body isn't all that different from humans. By normal standards, he's actually pretty handsome, so could it be that he's planning to forced conquest her? Lee looks at her confusingly as he pins her against the tree. She thinks if it's starting now, is her first time really going to be taken by this vampire-type monster? This goes against all moral principles. Lee says whatever he says next, repeat after him. His subordinate Li Shuer swears eternal loyalty to him for all eternity. She will never betray him. Shuei asks, what is this? As if this is some kind of role-playing game. He tells her he saved her life not so she could question him, just do it. Shuei gets scared as she repeats after him, asking if he's happy now. A notification appears telling Lee he has gained his second follower. Shuei's stats appear in front of him when he tells her not bad. He's satisfied. He gets close to her when she thinks, what is he trying to do? Is he going to kiss her? Then the next step would be logically be her first time. Even though she was expecting this, isn't this moving a little too fast? Just then, Lee moves back, saying time is up, the reward ends here. Shu asks, that's it. What about the rest when he tells her the petrification on her subordinates should wear off soon so she can take them and leave? Don't tell anyone about what happened here, as she agrees. Lee then says he doesn't have time to waste on her anymore and was about to leave when she calls him, asking him to wait. Lee asks what now, as if she's still not satisfied. She tells him if her teammates wake up and sees her like this, then it will be kind of awkward, so help her figure something out. After that, she thinks he actually gave her his clothes to wear. She can still feel his warmth and scent on the fabric. This is so intimate as it is embarrassing. Her affinity increases to 60%. On the other hand, at the Succubus village, Lee says today has been crazy. Not only did he reach level 21, but he also unlocked so many new skills. The feeling of getting stronger is amazing. He needs to keep pushing forward. Just then, the system tells him he has reached level 21 and is now qualified to challenge the Blood Prison Arena. The system tells him no experience points can be earned in the arena, and injuries will not heal automatically upon advancing floors or exiting the arena. However, successful completion will grant generous rewards, asking would he like to enter. He says injuries don't heal between fight. That could seriously mess with his leveling pace. Logically speaking, it would be safer to wait until the level of more before attempting this challenge, but he has already come this far, so he can't just sit around and do nothing. He asks the system to open the Blood Prison Arena, saying as they say fortune favors the bold, so there is no turning back now. Lai walks inside the portal as he transforms. He says he even got all the little details on his outfit, but this doesn't really look like an arena at all. The system says welcome to the preparation room. Please choose a weapon for battle. He asks a weapon when a bunch of different weapons appear in front of him with their names and abilities. He checks all of them, saying every weapon comes with bonus stats. No matter what he picks, it's going to give him a serious power-up, but he doesn't even have any weapon skills. How is he supposed to decide? Just then he notices a long cucumber as a weapon. The system says this weapon has a special effect. Poking the enemy repeatedly makes them pleasant for a bit. Lee says then then he's picking this one. He means sure, it looks kind of ridiculous, but if he uses it right, then this thing could be crazy useful. The system then asks him to choose a buff to help him in battle. Several buffs appear in front of him. When he says so, he got a pickup buff without even knowing who he's fighting. Well, based on his gaming experience, reducing the enemy's defense is always a solid choice, so he's going with Armor Breaker. The buff activates when the system tells him it's now transporting him to the battle arena. Lee appears on the battlefield looking around, thinking this is the arena. This place is definitely creepy. The system welcomes him to the first floor of the Blood Prison Arena. There are 50 floors each with their own defender. Beat them to win rewards and move on to the next floor. Now introducing their official arena commentator, the one and only, the always fabulous, the tiny but deadly demon Sally. Sally says today's challenger is Lee Haoran, a vampire with scarlet power. Lee thinks there's even a live commentator. This is going to be annoying. Sally says he's from a super rare race, but let's be real. He's still a total newbie. Will he pull off an upset today? Now let's meet the first floor defender. Straight out of the dark forest, bringing bad luck and straight up death. It's a heavy. Lee looks at his opponent, asking her why is she crying when she tells him she's the one who speaks to the dead. She can see when people are about to die. When death is near, she appears and she will wait for their doom. She's Banshee, Binhida. She tells Lee she can sense it. An overwhelming aura of death is around him, so she wails for him. Lee asks if she's saying he's going to die here, while thinking why isn't her name showing a power ranking? Did the arena mess with the system's display setting? But whatever. All he needs to know is that he can feel how strong she is. He then uses his ability, Red Storm, but to his surprise, Binhida blocks his attack, telling him his little bad attack isn't going to do anything to her. She tells him he can't beat her. This fight is already over. She jumps and then appears behind Lee in a glance to attack, but Lee dodges her attack, saying she doesn't even realize he baited her on purpose. He then takes out the cucumber, saying Red Storm didn't work on her. Let's see how she can handle his long cucumber. Seeing the cucumber, Binhida gets surprised, telling Lee she would rather not get poked by that thing. She kicks his weapon, throwing it away, when Sally says Lee's weird weapon got smacked right out of his hand. It looks like Binhida don't like stick-shaped objects. Is the fight turning in her favor now? Just then, she says the match is suddenly going in a completely different direction. Lee somehow managed to grab Binhida and her in an extremely awkward split position. Binhida thinks she can't move. How is he stronger than her? Just then, she slips and falls down when Lee gets on top of her. Lee says he never thought his weapon choice would work out this well. The second she saw it, she totally lost her composure. He then tells her to give up already because she knows he's stronger than her and she's not getting away. Lee tells Binhida that position must be painful. If she doesn't want to suffer, then just give up. Then, he will go on easy on her. Binhida gets surprised when she screams all of a sudden. Because of her powerful scream, Lee falls back, hitting the wall. He thinks her wailing has insane power. Her strength is nothing to underestimate. Sally says here comes Binhida's ultimate move, Wailing Alpha. Just hearing this cry can awaken the deepest fear of death in a person's heart. It crushes the enemy's mind, draining their will to fight until they're dragged into the abyss of death. If Lee's mental fortitude isn't strong enough, then he won't be able to resist her wail. Lee gets caught up in her attack when Sally says, just as expected, Lee Haoran can't handle it. The outcome of this match is practically decided. Lee, on the other hand, gets startled when he sees his mother. She tells him it's been a while. He hasn't forgotten what she looks like. Lee looks at her, asking if that's really her. His mother calls him a fool, asking who else would it be. Her little Lee has grown into such a fine man. She says he must have been through so much all these years, so come now, take his mother's hand and let her see him properly. Let's never be apart again, as they will be together forever. She reaches out to him, asking him to take her hand, telling him to let's go to paradise together and never part again. As Lee is walking towards her, he suddenly stops when his mother asks what's wrong. Why did he stop? She tells him to hurry up and take her mother's hand, asking if he doesn't miss her. Just then, Lee says, death isn't unfamiliar to him. He was betrayed by teammates, thrown to monster as bait, fighting off strange illnesses, living under the shadow of constant death, or barely surviving battles between awakened beings and monsters when he was a kid. His mom risked her life to save him and his sister from that incident, not so he could throw his life away because of some cheap trick. Lee unleashes his power when Binhida thinks this can't be happening. Sally says that's unbelievable. Lee actually resisted Wailing Alpha. His mental fortitude is incredible, as this fight just got a lot more interesting. Lee then activates his skill Blood Concealment when he tells Binhida he has already figured out her abilities, so now it's his turn. He then disappears when Binhida asks a stealth technique, but does he really think that will stop her from finding him? Just then, she launches another attack when Sally says this version converts her cries into raw energy. It's even more devastating than Alpha. Against an attack that floods the entire arena, even invisibility won't to save them. Just as Binhida is screaming suddenly, Lee appears in front of her and then puts his cucumber in her mouth. His buff Armor Breaker takes effect when he asks if she can stop crying already because it's really annoying. Sally in surprise says he broke through. Lee then says they're not done yet. The real fun is just beginning. He then uses his long threaded cucumber and then starts poking her. Binhida thinks how can a mere cucumber be this strong, and every poke hurts more than the last? It's unbearable. She can't take much more of this. Lee tells her his combo isn't even over yet when the system tells him the target has entered spasm state. Binhida thinks she can't move. She can't resist. Her body is convulsing uncontrollably as she has no control over it. What's happening to her as she falls back on the ground? Lee then asks if she wants him to keep going. She tells him to please stop poking her while surrendering. Looking at the fight, Sally thinks it's too terrifying. Just by looking at it makes her whole body shake. Just then, Lee says she has already surrendered, so can she wrap this up and announce the result? Sally apologizes, telling him she lost her composure. She then announces Lee as the winner of the match since Benhita surrendered. She tells him he's now qualified to challenge the second floor. The system tells him he has gained abnormal status resistance that increases resistance against mind control, poison, bleeding, and other negative effects. He also got a skill point that he can use to upgrade and unlock its skill to enhance its effect. Lee thinks so these are his rewards. Not only do they boost his attributes, but he can also upgrade his skills. This place was definitely worth coming to. Just then, the system asks if he would like to proceed to Blood Prison Arena, second floor. Lee thinks he got what he came for, but he's not fully recovered yet. Pushing into another battle just to show off would be a dumb move. He will come back once he has leveled up more while turning down the offer. He then gets back when the system tells him he has unlocked a hidden skill, Victor's Pact. Lee thinks a hidden skill reward. Why did it only triggered after he left the arena? The system tells him Victor's Pact allows defeated opponents in the arena to become his followers. Outside the arena, this skill allows him to summon them to fight by his side. He thinks so he can summon the opponents he has beaten even outside the arena, as if he clears 50 floors, then wouldn't that mean he would have an entire army to summon? Just then, weird voices start coming from his room when he says that voice sounds familiar. He walks inside his room and sees Nico sitting on his bed. Nico thinks even though her master isn't here, his scent still lingers all over the bed. It's so strong, so intoxicating. This is pure bliss. This is heaven. Just then, she thinks Master's scent just got even stronger. She opens her eyes and sees Lee standing in front of her asking what's she doing. She gets startled, telling him it's not what he thinks. She swears she wasn't doing anything weird on his bed. She just came to bring him new clothes since he gave his coat to that human woman, so she stayed up all night making him an identical one to replace it. Seeing the coat, Lee pats her, saying just when he was wondering where he would get a new coat, she showed up with one. He really can't do without her. Hearing that Nico thinks Master said he can't do without her. That's basically a confession. This must mean that he wants her by his side forever. After surviving 2 intense battles, Lee finally gets the chance to rest properly. However, the next day, a succubus shouts, telling everyone the village is under attack. There are orcs. The leader of the orc comes raiding and telling his men to get in there and take everything that's not nailed down. The orc laborers follow his order and starts attacking, tying the succubus and taking stuff. The leader asks them to tie them up tightly and make sure they don't escape halfway through. Take all the food, goods, and valuables in the village. Just then, Nico intervenes as she attacks some of the orcs, turning them into stones. Seeing that, the leader gets furious, asking who the hell is she? She dares attack them. He asks if she's tired of living when Nico says what a disgusting bunch to run into first thing in the morning. She tells him if he doesn't want to end up like them, turn to stone, then drop her people and get the hell out of here. The leader says she really doesn't get it. What does she think she can do, as if she has got some kind of a trump card? A bunch of orcs jumps up at Nico to attack when Lee appears. He uses his skill, Blood Prison Burial, level 2, attacking the orcs and killing them. His skill, Blood Prison Burial, level 2 is no longer restricted to a fixed area. Blood spikes now automatically lock onto multiple targets and activate faster. Looking at the attack, Nico thinks this technique and this aura, it's her master. Their village is saved. Lee says they're so damn loud in the morning. Can't a guy get some sleep? Nico looks at him when Lee tells her it's fine because he will handle this. The Tier 3 Beast Orc Centurion says a Blood Clan member, asking why is he mixed up with the Succubus. He tells Lee this doesn't concern him, so he suggests he stays out of it. Lee tells him he carries the blood of every one of them. He dares say this isn't his business. Lee then tells him he has pissed him off. It's too late for regrets as he activates his skill, Victor's Pact, and then summons Benhita. Benhita appears when Nico looks at her in astonishment while thinking that creature that Master summoned is incredible. Even his summoned beast has such overwhelming strength. The leader of the orcs says that's just a summoned helper. Is that his summon? He tells Lee he has at least 80 to 100 orcs under his command. Just the Benhita uses her wailing when the orcs gets consumed by it. They start attacking themselves with no will left to live. Just as the orcs were killing themselves, the orcs centurion thinks what a haunting cry. That voice is messing with his and his head is being filled with dark thoughts. He then thinks he won't fall for their tricks, telling them he carries the pride of all orcs. He resists her attack when suddenly Lee Ni kicks him on his chin, asking if he means looting, burying, and killing. He says that's a pretty cheap definition for horror. He keeps on attacking him, saying he carries the weight of his entire village's survival. The leader falls back when Lee uses his ability Red Storm. A swarm of bats appear and start attacking the orc leader when he says his defense is top tier. His bats can't kill him. If it weren't for that cry, he wouldn't stand a chance against him. Lee says he came here with a whole horde of orcs to attack the village, and he expected a one-on-one duel. That's a little too naive, don't he thinks? Just then, both Benhita and Nico prepares an attack and then hits it, causing severe damage to the orc. The orc falls back when Lee says holding back against an enemy is the same as betraying themselves. Strike when they are weak and finish them off. That's the law of battle, as he uses his Blood Prison Burial and then kills the orc. Just then, the system tells him he is leveled up and he gained 5 attribute points. Lee then says it's over, asking if everyone is okay. Nico says thanks to him, the village made it through without much damage. She then tells him he's amazing as he looks so cool defeating the orcs. All the other Succubus says after this, those bastards will think twice before messing with them again, as from now onwards, they probably won't dare to come and harass their village anymore. They say Lee has done so much for their village. How do they repay him? Lee, on the other hand, tells Benhita this was his first time summoning her, and she did great. Thanks to her crying cleaning up those orcs was a breeze. Benhita gets surprised when she blushes, telling him it was an honor to serve him. Whatever he commands, she will give it her all. Lee says good, then come with him as he has an important mission for her. She agrees as she follows him into the forest. Afterwards, she asks Lee he tortured her all night with that cucumber, and now he's biting her neck and won't let go. This important mission of his is just an excuse for his taste. She then tells him it hurts, but if it's what he wants, then she will endure it to the end. Just then, the system tells him Benhita's affection level has increased by 50% and he has completed the daily mission. Lee then tells her this isn't some weird kink. As a member of the Blood Clan, he needs to drink fresh blood daily to stay strong. It's essential for him. He then asks she doesn't look too good. Don't tell him that she's anemic. She tells him ever since their fight yesterday, her body has been hypersensitive. Just seeing him makes her relive her defeat in the arena, and now with him this close to her, her whole body feels strange. She then says she can't take this anymore, as this is humiliating. She tells him to please forgive her as she needs to excuse herself immediately. She disappears when Lee wonders if she's really that sensitive. Afterwards, Nico is taking a bath when she says Master saved their village. How can she repay him? The other asks if it isn't obvious, give him her body. Nico says that's the most sincere way to show gratitude, but Master seems only interested in battle, and he's already surrounded by beautiful women like Benhita and that human commander. Besides, she has no experience with men at all. Can she really satisfy him like this? The other Succubus asks Nico if she's worried that Lee isn't interested in her. Nico tells her sort of. She has tried a few times already, but it didn't work. The other tells her that's easy. Seducing men is a mandatory skill for a succubus. She's just too innocent, so she needs to loosen up. She then tells Nico she knows a way to make Master completely obsessed with her, asking her to take off her towel. She will show her now. Nico takes off her towel, telling her she's ready. What's next? All of a sudden, the other succubus points at Nico and then gives her a lust mark. Nico asks what's this when she tells her her combat talent is stronger than most of her kind, but only with this can she call herself a true succubus. On the other hand, Lee thinks the mana cost for Victor's Pact is insane. If he wants to use it more freely in battle, then he needs to boost his spirit stat. As for strength and stamina, he will just have to train like hell to keep those up. Just as he was training, Nico walks inside his room saying she finally figured out the perfect way to repay him. Lee looks at her asking what got her so excited. Nico looks at him shirtless when she thinks that's such a nice view. Master's physique is like a sculpted masterpiece, a true work of art. She then feels hot thinking this is too much, her body won't stop trembling. All of a sudden, she takes off her towel when Lee gets surprised. Nico's spell takes effect when the system tells Lee, status resistance maxed, he's now immune to the lust mark effect. On the other hand, the other succubus thinks she forgot something important. If the lust mark fails to charm its target, then the user suffers the backlash. Master Haoran is a blood demon god. There's no way Nico's charm spell would work on him, but now what the hell is she gonna do? Lee asks Nico. She doesn't look so good in that mark on her body. What is it? Nico tells him she feels so hot. Her head is filled with indescribable thoughts. It's like something inside her is about to explode. This is unbearable. She then asks Lee to help her, as she can't take it anymore. Just then, Lee hugs her tightly, saying he understands how she feels, but right now she's not thinking clearly. Nico tells him it's fine, he can do whatever he wants with her when suddenly, Lee kisses her. The next day, Nico wakes up thinking, what's this feeling? There's an unless surge of mana flowing through her. She has never felt anything like this before, as it's like she has broken through another level. She then looks at Lee thinking, could this be because of last night? Does Master really have this kind of effect? Even though her lust mark didn't work, Master went all the way with her. It was like he was devouring her whole. It was the most intense, mind-blowing experience of her life. The system tells Lee follower Nico has obtained the Blood Demon Essence. Her stats have drastically increased, and her beast rank has advanced to tier 4. Lee gets surprised thinking a breakthrough, his essence can do this. The system tells him Blood Demon Essence activates when a follower reaches 100% affection. Each follower can only receive this affect once. Lee thinks so it can't be repeated, but even once is overpowered as hell. Tier 4, that means her stats are higher than his now. Just then, Nico asks what's wrong, as if he's not satisfied with her performance last night. Lee disagrees, telling her she was amazing. Nico says being able to serve her master is her greatest honor. From now on, she belongs to him completely. The system gives Lee a daily quest, asking him before the next sunrise. Drink fresh blood from an opposite individual to activate blood fusion skill. Lee asks Nico if there are any other tribes around here, preferably ones with females. Nico tells him actually that orc group from yesterday, their tribe is just on the other side of the forest. They raid, plunder, and terrorize the other beast clans. After that, both Nico Nico and Lee arrives at the orc tribe. Lee says there should be female orcs there, so this is their camp. They have tormented villages for too long, so now it's time for payback. He asks Nico to show him what she can do after her breakthrough and remember to leave the woman alive. Nico agrees when she unleashes her power, thinking Master is letting her take revenge herself, so she has to prove herself. She then prepares an attack saying this is the incredible power her master has bestowed upon her. Now it's time to make them filthy beasts suffer as she attacks. Lee starts gaining experience when he thinks just as he thought. It's just like when Benhita killed the enemies with her cry. If his followers kill the enemy, then he will gain the same amount of experience. A huge crater appears on the ground when Nico says in the name of her master, the blood demon god, she has come to exterminate this orc tribe. Today is the day they all die. The orc warriors jumps up at her saying she's just a succubus spouting nonsense. A blood demon god like that even compares to their centurions. Just as they were about to attack, Nico grabs both of them and then slams them both together, saying she has waited for this moment for so long. Now let her show them the Succubus clan secret technique. She takes out a whip saying this is the perfect way to send them all to hell. Orcs, every single one of them come at her together. All the orcs jumps up towards her to attack when she uses her ability Passionate Whiplash. As Nico is fighting, Lee keeps on gaining experience and leveling up. He says with Nico helping him level up, this is much more efficient. The system tells him level 25 reached and a new skill is unlocked. He says let's see what it is when the system tells him skill Dark Affinity. It increases movement speed by 30% at night or in dark environments. Attacks also inflicts bleed effect. He says Dark Affinity. He guess he should only fight at night from now on. Now he's really turning into a full-on vampire. Nico on the other hand asks if this is all those rampaging orcs can do. What a disappointment. She's standing on top of corpses of orcs when a female orc gets angry, telling her not to get so cocky. They will teach her a lesson right now. Looking at her, Lee uses his ability Crimson Flash appearing behind her. The female orc thinks when did this guy came there? Lee says he won't hold back then as he starts sucking her blood. The system says his daily task is completed. Afterwards, the battle results are enemies defeated 178 orcs and captured 30 female orcs. Lee appreciates Nico telling her nicely done. Her tier 4 breakthrough really made a difference. Nico tells him not at all. That's all thanks to his training. Lee tells her with her current mana, she should be able to extend the petrification duration of love arrows. He tells her after they take these captives back to the village, turn them to stone and keep them stored. He will need them later. Nico agrees when Lee thinks they might not be the prettiest, but they're still females. As long as he keeps them preserved, he won't have to worry about his daily task for a whole month. Nico then tells Lee she found this orb earlier. It seems valuable. She would like to offer it to him. The system tells Lee, rare item acquired. Magic Breathe Pill. It increases max MP upon consumption and conceals demonic aura blocking external detection. Lee thinks if he eats this, then he can hide his aura completely. That means he can go back to J City without awakened hunters sensing him. He then eats the pill, thinking now that he thinks about it, he guesses it's finally time for him to catch up with an old friend. The next morning, after using the orc captives to complete his daily task, Nico asks Lee he's leaving. Why? Did she do something wrong or if she displeased him somehow? Lee disagrees, telling her she has been perfect and he's more than satisfied with her. It's just that he has some personal business to take care of and he needs to make a trip to J City. It shouldn't take him more than a few days. While he's gone, Benhita is under her command. Don't just sit around doing nothing. Expand her control from the village output. Wipe out every beast within a 10-mile radius, and if she runs into any female beasts, then follow the usual protocol. Nico agrees when Lee leaves, telling them that's all, now get to work. Benhita asks why does Master had to go to J City? Who is waiting for him there? Nico tells her Master's plan are beyond anything they can guess. At J City's residential area, Xu is holding onto Lee's coat, saying that's what he goes by the name Haoran. Ever since that night in the woods, she hasn't been able to stop thinking about him. The next day, the sun comes up while Xue is still sleeping. She then hears sounds as she wakes up saying, what's that sound? Just then she gets surprised to see Lee working out in her room. Lee looks at her asking if she's awake as if he woke her up. Xue looks at him in shock saying it's him. She asks, when did he get here and how did she not sense his presence at all? How does he even know her home address? Lee tells her she swore loyalty to him, so what's so strange about him being able to sense her location? Does he really need permission just to check in on his own subordinate? She tells him of course not, while her affection level increases to 63%. Lee says actually he does have something he needs her help with. He needs her to gather intel on someone. Chen Zizhen, a steel tier awakened from the elite center. He needs to know his upcoming missions. Zhu tells him that's easy. She's a squad leader in Red City Group. After all, she has got connections. Lee says that reminds him there's something else he's curious about. She tells him to go ahead as she can answer anything she can. Lee says last night she was hugging his coat while she slept and she kept murmuring his name in her sleep. What exactly was she dreaming about? Xue hesitates as she jumps on top of him, saying it's time to pay back what he owes her from the woods. She has waited long enough. Lee says since she's putting it like that, he won't hold back when suddenly the alarm rings. Xue says she's going to be late for work. She then runs, telling him she will have the information he needs after her shift. Lee thinks she reacted that strongly. That must have been one hell of a dream. Afterwards, at Red City Group underground parking lot, Xue thinks he saw her last night in that state. That's so embarrassing. How is she supposed to face him now? He's probably laughing at her at home right now. Just as she was walking, suddenly someone calls her saying he needs to ask her something. Two guys are standing there when one of them says, a few days ago there was an unusual mana surge in the outskirts of J City. She remembers that. His younger brother, Yu Wen, was sent to investigate it with his partner, but both of them were killed. His brother's corpse was even dumped on the Elite Center's headquarters. From what he knows, her squad also investigated that mana surge. Even a golden tier like Yu Wen couldn't made it out alive, so tell her, how did her team made it out unscathed? He is legendary tier awakened, Elite Center's young master. Why Yu Wu? Zhu asks if he is accusing her of killing his brother while thinking he's a legendary tier awakened. This just got complicated. Just then Yu Wu's subordinate tells him there's no need to waste words on her. She won't talk unless they beat it out of her. He's golden tier awakened, Firebull, Wang Meng. Wang unleashes his power and then rushes towards Zhu to attack using his ability Blazing Fist, but Zhu blocks his attack, asking if this is how the Elite Center operates. They think just because they have a legendary tier backing them up, they can act like thugs. This is Red City's group headquarters. They realize everyone here is on her side, so if they want to start a fight here, she will gladly oblige. Yu Wu tells her not to misunderstand. His subordinate is just hot-headed like his brother was, but deep down he's actually pretty gentle. They don't mean any harm as they just want answers. That day, when they got to the scene, there was nothing left but a skeleton. Su tells him they never even saw the beast. That's all she can tell him, asking if he's satisfied now. Yu Wu tells her he appreciates her cooperation. Zhu then leaves thinking the Elite Center is really keeping an eye on her. This is getting more and more dangerous. Most awakened ones never make it past Golden Tier in their entire life. Reaching Diamond Star Tier is already a miracle level achievement, but Legendary Tier, that's above Diamond Star, the best of the best. That guy, he may act polite, but underneath he's beyond dangerous. She needs to warn Li before it's too late. Yu Wu outside is vomiting when Wang asks if he's okay. Should they call a doctor? Yu Wu tells him he's fine. It's just his OCD acting up again. He's been forcing himself to endure it this whole time. That asymmetrical hairstyle of Zhui is driving him insane. He then says, didn't she had two subordinates with her that day? Grab them and interrogate them. If their stories don't match up even slightly, then all three of them will join his brother in grave. At night, Lee starts gaining experience when he says he's at level 27 already. It looks like Nico and Benhita didn't slack off. As long as he keeps increasing his number of followers, he will never slow down his leveling pace. Just then, the system tells him he has acquired a new title, Battlefield Commander. Lee checks it saying Speak of the Devil, a title that boosts all followers by 10%. It's way better than Undead Slayer, no contest. Just then, Sue arrives telling him she's back and she got the intel he wanted. She tells him Chen Zizhen is leading a squad out of the city at 10 p.m. tonight. The squad consists of 8 Steel Tier Awakened ones. She hands him a file telling him this file contains their mission details, squad members' skills, home addresses, and even their phone numbers. She did what she could, but this is all the intel she managed to get. Lee checks the file asking all the intel. She basically handed him their family registry. He then tells her she really is the best. This is a huge help. Hearing the praise, her affection level increases to 69% when she tells him it was nothing. It's no big deal, and praising her like that won't make her happy. Lee says she's such a liar, but more importantly, what's with that box? She tells him it's a gift for him. She then gives him a bunch of stuff including armor and healing potions. System tells him new equipment acquired and his stats are increased. Lee gets happy saying this is insane, but this whole set must have cost a fortune. He doesn't have that kind of money, so why is she giving him all this for free? She tells him he's being targeted by the Elite Center and his opponent is a legendary tier awakened. She just wanted to make sure he has something to rely on when things go south. Hearing that, Lee holds her when she gets surprised, asking what's he doing. Just then, he kisses her out of the blue when her affection level increases to 83%. She thinks her first kiss, he stole it. Lee then thanks her, telling her he will take her kindness to heart, but right now there's something even more important that he needs to do. The system tells him his equipment stats have been applied, but visual appearance is hidden. Lee walks outside saying he's still got time before 10 p.m., so he should go check on Xiao Yu. At J City First High School, inside of a classroom, Li Xiaoyu, Li Haoran's younger sister, is studying. Li comes as he stands by the door concealing his presence. He looks at her and then apologizes, thinking right now he's too dangerous to be near her. If he shows himself recklessly, then he might drag her into something she can't escape. In a world ruled by the awakened, being weak is a sin. That's why he has to keep growing stronger. Only when he's strong enough, he can stand beside her without fear. He will never have to lower his head again. Just then, Xiaoyu looks at the door thinking if that was just her imagination. Tears starts falling from her eyes when she thinks why won't her tears stop. On the other hand, Chen Zizhen defeats a monsters alone, saying mission complete. He asks his team to gather all the White Bear Warlord's gear and any valuables from the corpse. His teammate says even a tier 3 elite beast like the White Bear Warlord couldn't withstand his blade. At this rate, he will be silver scale tier in no time, there's no doubt about it. Chen asks them enough with the flattery and just hurry up so they can go home and sleep. Just then, Lee asks go home when everyone looks at him. Lee then asks if he thinks he's going home tonight. If he wants to suck up to him, then he should better do it now because after tonight he won't get the chance. Chen looks at him saying he's alive. He took his blade and still escaped the Titan Boa. That's impossible. Lee says nothing is impossible. just like how he never imagined his own teammate would stab him in the back. He's here for only one reason, that is to make him pay. Chen gets angry when his team member asks Lee if he's out of his mind. He's not even awakened and he thinks he can take on a steel tier. He then asks him what's with that outfit, as if he's cosplaying Dracula. His captain sacrificed him for the greater good. They don't see anything wrong with that. If anyone is to blame, then it's his own weakness. Besides, he's alive, so what's the big deal? The guy running his mouth continuously is Zhang Weiwei, a steel tier awakened. Zhang then asks if he came all this way just to whine at them. He takes out 200 bucks, telling Lee to consider this compensation for his emotional distress. He should take it and let's call it even. By his remarks, Lee gets furious as he summons his blade and then beheads him in an instant, saying he doesn't want their money but he wants their life. Looking at that, Chen gets surprised, thinking Lee has no aura at all. He's just an ordinary human, so how the hell did he kill Zhang, a steel tier awakened? It doesn't make sense. Chen then says that idiot must have gotten lucky. Zhang let his guard down. They all should kill him and avenge Zhang. Liu Chen, a mid-rank steel tier, says a lowly piece of trash like him killed a steel tier. His luck won't save him twice. Liu Chen uses his ability, Thunderous Wrath, to attack, telling Lee this is his full power attack. Dust and debris spreads everywhere when he says that attack should have fried him into charcoal. Just then, Lee kills him, surprising all the others. Lee says so this is a full power strike from a steel tier mid-rank. It was just a little static shock. He says he's still far from turning him into charcoal as they're pathetically weak. Seeing this, Chen gets surprised, saying this guy isn't an ordinary person at all. He was hiding his true strength this entire time, but he's still just one person. He asks everyone to attack together, take him down. Everyone jumps at Lee to attack when Lee asks who said that he was alone. He uses his ability Victor's Pact when suddenly Benhita appears, killing two guys. She says they pathetic weaklings think they can kill her master. They should know their place. Both Benhita and Lee starts killing them one by one. After killing the others, Benhita tells Lee, there's only one left now. Let her take care of him. Just then, Lee grabs her shoulder, telling her there's no rush because this one is his. Chen becomes frightened when he says he will admit it. He's surprised that he was able to take things this far, but he has figured out his little trick. He has been trying to hide it, but every time he attacks, his mana leaks out for a split second, and that beast by his side keeps calling him Master. He's not even human anymore. Did he really give up his humanity just to kill him? Lee says thanks to him he had no other choice, but who the hell is he to judge him? Chen says he only dared to come after him because he thought he was still at steel tier high rank. He assumed he could win, but he miscalculated. After their last mission went sideways because of that tier 5 beast, he prepared for this day. Just then, he injects himself with something, telling Lee this is the new experimental drug he bought off the black market. Not only does it unlock his full potential, but it lets him temporarily break past his tier limitations. Right now, he's at silver tier mid-rank. He tells Lee he's 100 years too early to take revenge on him. Just then, Lee says he changed into an orange nameplate. That's too bad because it won't help him. It's nighttime. He doesn't stand a chance. Chen asks Nighttime, saying he has no idea how strong he is now. Even a silver scale, high rank, wouldn't be able to keep up with him now. He still can't escape his death as he rushes towards Lee. Just then, Lee activates his skill, Night Affinity, and jumps away. Chen says he's not getting away when suddenly, Lee starts jumping everywhere. Chen thinks there's no way. That's impossible. He took the injection so his eyes should be able to keep up with him. Just then, Lee hits Chen and then keeps on hitting him. Benhita gets surprised, thinking Master had a clear chance to kill him instantly, but instead he deliberately avoided his vitals. He's enjoying this. Chen, while being injured, asks Lee to show himself. He tells him he's not losing to a piece of trash like him and he will personally kill him. Just then, Lee stabs him from the back, saying, an eye for an eye. He then tells Chen an old friend of his is still hungry. Lee gives Chen another slash when Chen asks him to just end it already. Lee tells him he was just trying to kill him and now he's begging for mercy. He takes out the high-grade health potion, telling Chen he's not going to kill him so easily. That would be letting him off too easily. He's even going to heal him. Lee uses the potion on Chen and then stabs his leg when Chen screams in pain. Lee says he doesn't have to worry. He has plenty of potions. After every 5 seconds, he will stab him again as he wants him to experience endless pain and despair. Chen says he's pure evil. Lee says once he's done, he will throw him into the belly of a titan boa. Let it enjoy the meal. Benhita, looking from afar, thinks she knew it. Her master enjoys torturing his enemies, just like when he tormented her in the arena. Master is a total sadist. On the other hand, inside Yu Wu's office, his secretary walks in telling him the tech division just detected a unique mana signature. It's faint and fluctuating, but it matches the one that young master Yu Wen was investigating. The location is near Chen Zizhen's squad mission site. Yu Wu says after all this time hiding, he finally slipped up. A tier 5, Abyssal Titan Boa appears when Lee asks Chen to take a good look at this as if he recognizes this. Chen begs him, saying he doesn't want to be eaten by that thing. Just then, Lee gives him a finishing blow, cutting his neck. He then throws him towards the boa, which eats it. The boa then leaves when Lee thinks it's just going to eat and leave. It seems like it doesn't see him and Benhita as threats, probably because they're both classified as beasts. The system tells him he has reached level 30 and has unlocked a new skill. Lee checks the skill he has gained, Soul Resonance. If a follower's affection level reaches 100%, then their soul will resonate with their master, generating a powerful exclusive equipment. Lee thinks this skill only activates at max affection. He already experienced Nico's Soul Resonance. Even though he only used Bloodblade Bredso for 10 minutes, its stats were ridiculously powerful. If every follower can generate exclusive equipment through Soul Resonance, then his potential is limitless. Benhita is currently at 50% affection and Li Jue'er is at 83%. He guessed he will have to focus on the two of them for now. Just then, the system starts giving him a danger warning saying an extremely high threat target is approaching rapidly. Immediate evasion is recommended. Lee gets surprised when he tells Benhita to cancel the summon and hide now. He too jumps away when Yu-Wu lands, thinking he could have sworn he sensed a faint presence just now, and the blood trail on the ground stops here. He gets angry thinking where the hell did they go, as they couldn't have just vanished into thin air. Suddenly, the Titan Boa rushes towards Yu-Wu to attack when he jumps, saying this measly Tier 5 beast is daring to challenge him. He doesn't have time to play with filthy animals like him. Suddenly, he notices something saying something's off about that snake's face. Its right side has an extra horn. He says it really think it can show up looking like that and screw with him. He can't stand disgusting creatures like them. After that, the system tells Lee he's entering Battle Zone Arena. All equipped gear will be disabled, asking him to please select his combat weapon. Lee thinks for the system to give such a severe warning, this must be the guy Jue mentioned who wants revenge on him. Even though Magic Breathe Pill can conceal his mana presence, once he enters combat, he can't avoid releasing his energy. It looks like until he reaches peak strength, he should keep a low profile.